Well, let's bring it home. Although, of course, we are talking about a geographically diverse company. Mediclinic International is South Africa's biggest private hospital group by value and is controlled by Remgro.
Right, now remember where it has assets. Obviously here in South Africa, that's where its roots were, but they bought their way into the Swiss market, which is a very interesting and important one for them now. It's the largest contributor. They're in the United Arab Emirates first themselves and through the acquisition of Al Noor. And then they also have a 30% stake in a UK hospital group.
And they recently listed on the LSE by way of a reverse takeover of the Al Noor Hospital Group. They have a secondary listing on the JSE. Market cap 101.8 billion rand, PE of 26.9, dividend yield of 0.3%. Many have played this right, but what is happening in the latter stages of the market play? Have we seen a similar sell-off as a result of all the contagion?
Yes, and issues specific to Mediclinic. So a long-term price graph, if you add Mediclinic International to the old Mediclinic that was just listed in South Africa before the Al Noor reverse takeover, will show a very strong share price performance and then the quite significant drop-off at the end. And that drop-off is global trends, but also specifically the pressure they saw in the United Arab Emirates from the TCA regulations. That's once again wide coverage that has seen some changes, less people, less volumes for hospitals. And hospital is like a hotel. Your occupancy is very important. If you have volumes with a high fixed cost base, you make a lot of revenue, a lot of profit to the bottom line. It's very sensitive to those volumes though. So when your volumes drop, you get a disproportionate impact on your bottom line, which is exactly what happened to Mediclinic.
Well, we own Mediclinic in the hot stocks portfolio.
We do. We actually owned them before, and then as JP said, it's important to understand, late last year they actually went through this process of conversion, and then they did the listing beginning of this year, and so on and so forth. So the whole thing got completely swept away. So your prior old MDC shares got compulsorily taken away from you. You had a capital event and then you got new shares in the London listed entity. Since then, that's the chart that you're looking at there. They've actually come down from nearly 200 Rand a share to the current level, which is about 130 something. So very bad performance.
So we see shareholder value, shareholder wealth being
and much
destroyed
upset
here.
and dissatisfaction. But in a way, obviously, if you owned them before, you've got to keep that in mind. But right now, the anxiety is, as JP says, that the European business is okay-ish. There's a bit of a worry about Brexit. Swiss business has been strong. South African business a little bit maybe a bit mature. And then the Middle Eastern business, this very regrettable change where the Emirati government decided to reduce coverage levels, which means people won't go to these hospitals quite as much as before.
Now, the difficult part here is whether we need to give up on Mediclinic or do you wait for a recovery story? And I'm talking about people who have held it all the way down.
No, I think the story is still intact. Once again, there's huge global trend towards healthcare expenditure. You also have regulatory issues in Switzerland, it must be added. But still, you have more people needing more healthcare coverage, and in the short term, governments are struggling to pay for all of this. But in the long term, the citizenship will demand it. So I don't see this as the end of extended healthcare coverage. In the UK, they bought a third of Spire with the help of Remgro. That's another opportunity for them. And that's one area where the actual money available for NHI in that case, or the NHS it's called in the UK, has increased after Brexit. That's one of the key reasons why the populace voted for Brexit, to say that the money shouldn't go to Brussels, it should stay locally in our healthcare sector. So there are some bright spots available for Mediclinic.
Do you think they're going to buy the balance of the Spire minorities?
Yes, and I wish they did it in the last 6 months. I think they had a wonderful opportunity with the share price above 200 Rand per share, trading well on the LSE as well. They decided not to. They already had the synergies from common sourcing, and there was no reason for them to do it. Well, when your share price is high and you have a good currency with a lot in terms of its share price, that's the time to do it. So they missed that boat. But ultimately it will happen.
Paul, have you considered getting out of this one at any stage?
No, you know, I'm hardwired to be a holder and to remain optimistic, particularly when I see, you know, these sorts of short-term noise issues. I think the whole sector globally is sold off because of the US developments. I think people are getting a little bit anxious about repositioning inside of the healthcare sector, wanting to favor the pharma stocks for the moment. So I think one's got to look through
exactly,
these cyclical
and it is
issues.
risky to start trading on noise. If you've decided on your investment themes, it is all about holding through.
Yes, and for the
through these
record, I'm not
periods.
even negative about the South African hospital environment. I think they continue to thrive. More people can afford the service overall. The state sector isn't improving, and so coverage gets extended where it wasn't anticipated before, etc., etc. So
Let's call it. Can we
I
call
remain
it
confident.
hot or not?
Hot for me.
At this price, 200 Rand was a bit steamy, but at this price, hot.